What if one day you wake up, open your phone, check the chart, and everyone is saying the same thing at once? XRP is all gone, wiped out, finished, erased from the conversation. That kind of headline spreads fast. It triggers fear instantly. And that's exactly why we need to slow down and talk about what gone actually means in markets. Because most of the time, it doesn't mean what people think it means. Before we go deeper, if you value calm explanations instead of panic-driven crypto content, tap the like button right now and subscribe while you're here. It helps this channel reach people who want understanding, not hype. Now let's get into it. Markets love dramatic language. All gone. Dead. Finished. These words create clicks, emotion, urgency. But markets don't operate on language. They operate on structure. When people say an asset is gone, what they usually mean is attention has moved somewhere else. And attention is not the same thing as value, infrastructure, or existence. XRP cannot simply disappear because it isn't a meme, a trend, or a temporary experiment. It's a functioning digital asset with an active ledger, existing liquidity, and ongoing use cases. Price can fall. Volume can drop, interest can fade, but gone is something very different. What often happens instead is supply shifts hands. Assets move from impatient participants to patient ones, from short-term expectations to long-term positioning. That transfer rarely looks exciting. It looks quiet, boring, sometimes even depressing, and that's where most people lose perspective. When volatility dries up, people assume something is wrong. When headlines stop, people assume development stopped. But development doesn't announce itself daily. It happens in meetings, testing environments, integrations, and regulatory conversations that don't show up on a chart. The idea that XRP could be all gone usually comes from misunderstanding circulation versus visibility. XRP's supply is known. Its ledger is transparent. Its movement can be tracked. Nothing about that disappears because social media gets bored. Another layer to this is psychology. When people hold something for a long time and don't see the outcome they imagined, frustration builds. Frustration turns into narratives. Narratives turn into emotional exits. And those exits are often framed as certainty instead of disappointment. Markets don't punish belief. They punish rigid belief. If someone believed XRP would move on a specific timeline and it didn't, that doesn't invalidate the asset. It only invalidates the timeline. But humans hate separating the two. This is where experience matters. Anyone who's been in markets long enough knows that assets rarely reward the largest group at the same time. They move when expectations are lowest, not highest. That's why all gone moments are often just silence moments. Silence feels dangerous because it removes feedback. There's no confirmation, no excitement, no reassurance. Just time. Time is uncomfortable, but time is also where infrastructure lives. XRP was never designed to entertain traders. It was designed to move value efficiently. Those two goals don't always align. Entertainment requires constant movement. Infrastructure requires stability. When price doesn't move, people assume nothing is happening, but stability is exactly what systems need before adoption can scale. Another important point is that markets recycle narratives. The same XRP is dead story has appeared multiple times over the years, usually during periods of consolidation or uncertainty, and each time it says more about sentiment than reality. Sentiment is short-term, systems are long-term. This doesn't mean XRP is guaranteed anything. Nothing in markets is guaranteed, but absence of excitement is not absence of relevance. A lot of people confuse attention with progress. Attention is loud, progress is quiet. And here's something most people don't want to hear. If an asset truly disappears, you don't hear about it constantly. You don't see endless debates. You don't see emotional reactions. It simply fades without resistance. The fact that XRP still triggers strong reactions, positive and negative, tells you it's still part of the conversation, whether people like it or not. Markets are not democratic. They don't reward consensus. They reward positioning. When everyone agrees something is over, risk often decreases, not increases. That's counterintuitive, but it's how cycles work. Fear peaks near lows. Confidence peaks near highs. This is why headlines should never be treated as signals. They are reflections of emotion, not structure. If XRP were truly all gone, institutions wouldn't still be watching regulatory clarity. Developers wouldn't still be building tools. Liquidity wouldn't still exist. Infrastructure wouldn't still function. What's gone is patience for many people. What's gone is the excitement phase. And that's a very different thing. It's also worth remembering that markets don't owe anyone outcomes. Holding something doesn't entitle anyone to profits, but neither does temporary stagnation mean permanent failure. The The hardest phase of any long-term asset is the middle. The beginning is exciting. The end looks obvious in hindsight. The middle feels endless. That's where conviction gets tested. Not blind conviction, but informed conviction. If you're watching this feeling frustrated, that feeling is understandable. Markets are designed to test resolve, but frustration doesn't equal truth. The smartest thing anyone can do in moments like this is stop reacting and start reassessing. Not the asset, but their own expectations, time horizon, and emotional exposure. XRP being quiet doesn't mean it's gone. It means it's not performing for an audience. And markets don't perform, they function. As this video continues, the goal isn't to convince you of anything. It's to pull you out of the emotional framing that headlines push and bring you back to structural thinking. Because when emotion fades, clarity returns. And clarity is the only thing that actually lasts in markets. And when you strip away the emotion and really look at what's happening, you start to notice a pattern that repeats across every market cycle. Assets don't disappear when people say they're all gone. They disappear when no one is talking about them anymore. Silence is different from negativity. Negativity still means engagement. Silence means irrelevance. XRP has never truly entered silence. What people are reacting to right now is fatigue. Long timelines wear people down. Waiting without validation is harder than losing fast. At least loss gives closure. Waiting keeps questions open, and open questions make people uncomfortable. That discomfort gets expressed as certainty. It's over. It's dead. It's gone. Those statements feel powerful because they end the mental debate. But markets don't care about mental comfort. They care about flow, structure, and utility. Another thing most people miss is that markets don't move to reward belief. They move to rebalance positioning. When too many people expect one outcome, the opposite becomes statistically more likely, not because of manipulation, but because of positioning pressure. XRP has spent long periods being underestimated, ignored, or dismissed. That doesn't make it successful by default, but it does mean expectations are low, and low expectations change the risk profile. This is why experienced participants stop paying attention to loud narratives and start watching behavior instead. Are systems still running? Is liquidity still present? Are developers still building? Are institutions still observing? Those signals matter more than headlines. The word wild gets thrown around a lot, usually to describe chaos, but most market chaos is actually order playing out at a level people don't see. What feels wild from the outside is often systematic on the inside. If XRP were truly collapsing structurally, you'd see it in the plumbing first. You'd see failures in settlement, breakdowns in liquidity, abandonment of infrastructure. That hasn't happened. What has happened is emotional exhaustion, and emotional exhaustion creates opportunity for people who are still thinking clearly. That doesn't mean buying. That doesn't mean selling. It means understanding. Understanding that markets don't move on your schedule. Understanding that long-term systems often look broken before they look obvious. Understanding that value doesn't announce itself with sirens. One of the most dangerous assumptions people make is believing that visibility equals importance. In reality, some of the most important systems operate quietly because noise introduces risk. Financial infrastructure prefers predictability, not excitement. XRP was never designed to be exciting every week. It was designed to work, and working systems don't trend on social media.